I have seen too many old friends slow down. They start moving less. They sit more. Then one day, they need a cane. A little later, a walker. And soon, they cannot get around without help. I have watched this happen, and I have promised myself, I will not go down that road. If you are over 70, you know exactly what I mean. The legs do not feel as strong as they used to. Walking up the stairs takes longer. Getting out of a chair is not as easy. Maybe you have already felt that little wobble in your step. That little moment where you think, is this how it starts? I have been there. I know the feeling. But I also know something else. It does not have to be this way. You do not have to lose your independence. You do not have to accept weakness as part of aging. You can keep walking strong for the rest of your life. And the best part? You do not need a fancy gym. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need a long list of complicated exercises. There is one simple movement that can keep you walking with confidence. I am going to tell you exactly what it is. But first, let me tell you how I discovered it. A few years ago, I started noticing changes in my body. My legs felt stiff in the morning. Walking for more than 10 minutes made my knees ache. I told myself it was just part of getting older. But then, one day, I tripped over nothing. My foot just did not lift high enough. I caught myself before I fell, but it shook me. That was the moment I knew I had to do something. I started researching. I talked to doctors. I read everything I could find about keeping strong as we age. And after all that searching, I found the answer in the simplest place. The key to lifelong walking strength is in your thighs and hips. These are the muscles that lift your legs, support your balance, and keep you steady. If these muscles stay strong, you stay strong. If they weaken, everything starts to go downhill. So what is the simple exercise? Sit to stand. That is it. No fancy name. No complicated moves. Just sitting down and standing up. It sounds too easy. It sounds like it should not work. But I promise you, this one movement can change everything. Let me tell you why. When you do a sit to stand, you are using the exact same muscles that you need to walk, climb stairs, and stay balanced. Every time you lower yourself into a chair and push yourself back up, you are training your legs to stay strong. You are keeping the power in your thighs, the stability in your hips, and the endurance in your body. And here is the most important part, you are training your body to get up without struggle. That is what keeps you independent. That is what keeps you walking for life. I started with 5 sit-to-stands every morning. It felt easy. So I did 5 more in the evening. Within a week, I felt a difference. Getting out of my chair did not feel like a slow effort anymore. Walking up the stairs felt smoother. I kept going. 10 in the morning. 10 in the evening. Then 15. Then 20. I never needed to lift weights. I never needed a personal trainer. I just needed to sit down and stand up, over and over. Let me tell you what happened next. A few months later, I met up with an old friend. He walked with a cane. He told me his legs felt weak, and he had lost his balance a few times. He asked me what I had been doing because I looked strong. I told him about the sit-to-stand. He laughed. "That's it," he said. "That's all you do?" I told him to try it. Just 5 in the morning. 5 in the evening. He did. A month later, he called me. "You won't believe this," he said. "I don't need my cane inside the house anymore." That is when I knew. This simple movement is powerful. You do not need to accept weakness. You do not need to let your legs give up on you. You do not need to watch yourself slow down and wonder when the fall will come. You have a choice. You can start now. You can train your body to stay strong. And you can do it without spending a dime. Here is how you do it. Sit down in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the ground. Keep your knees at a 90-degree angle. Cross your arms over your chest or place them on your thighs. Now stand up without using your hands. Then slowly lower yourself back down. That is 1. Start with 5. Do it in the morning. Do it in the evening. If 5 is too much, start with 3. If 3 is too much, start with 1. Just start. Over time, add more. Aim for 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening. Then push to 15. Then 20. If you can do 30 a day, you will feel the difference. And here is the secret: consistency is everything. Do it every day. Do not skip. This is your independence. This is your strength. This is your future. I do not want you to end up like too many of my old friends, struggling to walk, needing help to get up, watching life shrink because their legs gave out. I want you to keep moving. I want you to stay strong. I want you to feel the power in your legs every time you stand. And I want you to do it with something so simple, so effective, that you will wish you had started sooner. I have been where you are. I have felt the stiffness. I have worried about losing my balance. I have watched too many people give up and accept weakness as part of aging. But I made a choice. I chose to fight back. I chose to take control. I chose to do the one simple thing that has kept me walking strong. And now I am telling you, do not wait until you feel yourself slowing down. Do not wait until getting up feels like a struggle. Do not wait until you need a cane. Start now. Stand up. Sit down. Repeat. Keep doing it. Keep moving. Keep walking for life. Now, let's clear some common questions. Can this simple exercise help prevent falls, and are there additional movements that complement its benefits? I have seen what happens when people fall. I have seen strong, independent men and women turn into people who are afraid to move. I have seen confidence disappear overnight. A simple fall can take away more than just your balance. It can take away your freedom. It can take away your ability to live the way you want. That is why I take this seriously. I do not wait for problems to show up before I act. I do what I can now to make sure I stay steady on my feet for as long as I live. The question is simple. Can one exercise, just standing up and sitting down, help prevent falls? The answer is yes. And I will tell you exactly why. Falling does not happen out of nowhere. It happens because something is already going wrong inside the body. Maybe the legs are too weak to support balance. Maybe the reaction time is slower than it used to be. Maybe the muscles in the thighs and hips are not strong enough to catch a misstep. When those things combine, a small trip turns into a hard fall. But here is the good news. All of that can be fixed before it ever becomes a problem. And the sit to stand is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to do it. When you lower yourself into a chair and push yourself back up, you are training your legs to stay strong. You are reminding your body how to move with control. You are keeping the power in your thighs and the stability in your hips. But most importantly, you are training your body to react. A fall happens in an instant. 1 second you are walking. The next, your foot catches something, and you start to go down. The only thing that can save you is a fast reaction. Your legs need to be strong enough to catch you. Your muscles need to be awake and ready to move. That is exactly what sit-to-stands teach your body. I remember when I first started doing this exercise. I did not think much of it. I just knew I wanted to keep my legs strong. But a few months later, something happened that proved to me how important this was. I was walking down the street when I stepped on an uneven part of the sidewalk. My foot twisted slightly, and I felt myself tipping forward. But before I could even think about falling, my legs caught me. My muscles reacted without hesitation. I stayed on my feet. I walked away without a scratch. That was the moment I knew. This simple exercise had saved me. But there is more to the story. The sit-to-stand is powerful, but it works even better when combined with other movements. Think of it like a team. If you only train one part of your body, you are leaving weaknesses that can still cause trouble. That is why I added a few more simple exercises to my routine. The first one is heel raises. Standing tall, I lift my heels off the ground and balance on the balls of my feet. Then I lower myself back down slowly. This strengthens my calves and improves my balance. The second exercise is standing leg lifts. Holding onto a sturdy chair, I lift one leg straight out to the side, then lower it back down. Then I switch to the other leg. This strengthens the muscles on the sides of my hips, which are critical for stability. Another movement that makes a big difference is the toe tap. I stand next to a step, tap the tip of my foot onto it, then bring it back down. I repeat this on both sides. This improves coordination and keeps my legs quick. And finally, I practice standing on one foot. At first, I needed to hold onto something for support. But over time, I improved. Now I can stand on one foot for a solid 30 seconds. That ability alone has saved me more than once. I have seen too many people wait until they are struggling before they start thinking about balance. They wait until they have already fallen. They wait until they are already afraid to walk without holding on to something. But by then, it is harder to regain strength. That is why I tell everyone who will listen. Do not wait. Start now. Start with sit to stands. Then add a few more simple movements. Make it a habit. Do it every day. Because once you lose your confidence in walking, it is hard to get it back. A fall is not just about hitting the ground. It is about what happens after. It is the broken bones. The long recovery. The fear that keeps people from moving like they used to. I have seen people go from being active and full of life to barely leaving their house because they are afraid of falling again. I refuse to let that happen to me. I refuse to let it happen to anyone I care about. That is why I talk about this. That is why I do these exercises every single day. The beauty of this approach is that it does not require special equipment. It does not take hours of work. It does not require going to a gym or hiring a trainer. It just takes commitment. It takes the decision to stand up and sit down a few times a day. It takes the willingness to lift your heels, raise your legs, tap your toes, and practice your balance. These small things add up. They build strength. They build confidence. They keep you walking tall. I have had friends tell me they do not have time for this. That they do not feel like exercising. That it is too late for them. And I always say the same thing. Do you have time to recover from a broken hip? Do you feel like losing your ability to walk? Do you really believe it is too late when your muscles are still working right now? Because as long as you can move, you can improve. And if you improve a little bit every day, you will never have to live in fear of falling. So yes, this simple exercise can help prevent falls. But even more than that, it can keep you living the way you want. It can keep you independent. It can keep you strong. And when you add a few more movements to support it, you give yourself the best possible chance of staying on your feet for life. I know this because I live it. I know this because I have seen what happens when people do nothing. And I know this because every time I stand up without effort, every time I catch myself before I trip, every time I walk with confidence, I feel the proof in my own body. I do not do this because I enjoy exercise. I do this because I enjoy life. And I want to keep living it on my own terms. So I will keep standing up. I will keep moving. I will keep walking. And I hope you do the same. Because the choice is yours. Stay strong now, or struggle later. I have made my choice. And I hope you make yours before it is too late. How does maintaining leg strength impact other aspects of life, such as confidence, independence, and mental well-being? I have seen what happens when people lose their leg strength. It does not just slow them down. It does not just make walking harder. It changes everything. It takes away their confidence. It steals their independence. It darkens their spirit. I have watched strong men become hesitant. I have seen proud women become afraid. And I have learned something that I will never forget. The strength in your legs is not just about movement. It is about life itself. When your legs are strong, you feel capable. You do not think twice about standing up, walking across the room, or stepping outside. You move without fear. But when your legs weaken, something else weakens with them. Doubt creeps in. Simple things start to feel uncertain. You hesitate before getting out of a chair. You second-guess your balance when stepping off a curb. That hesitation turns into worry. And worry turns into fear. That is how it starts. One day, you avoid a long walk because your legs feel tired. The next, you sit more than you stand. Before you know it, your world has shrunk. I have seen this happen too many times. A person who once moved with ease starts depending on furniture to steady themselves. They avoid stairs. They stay inside more because they are afraid of falling. And slowly, they stop doing the things they love. Not because they do not want to, but because they no longer trust their own body. That is why I say leg strength is more than physical. It is mental. It is emotional. It is the foundation of confidence. I remember a friend of mine, a man who was full of life. He loved going to the park. He loved traveling. He never liked sitting still. But when he started losing strength in his legs, he changed. He stopped going on long walks. He avoided social gatherings that required too much movement. He started declining invitations. He told me, "I just do not feel steady anymore." And that was it. The moment he lost trust in his legs, he lost trust in himself. His confidence disappeared. His independence followed. And with that, his joy faded. I made a promise to myself that I would never let that happen. I decided I would keep my legs strong no matter what. Because strength is freedom. If your legs are strong, you do not have to wait for someone to help you stand. You do not have to rely on others to get where you want to go. You do not have to live in fear of falling. You move because you choose to, not because someone else has to assist you. That is independence. That is dignity. And once you lose it, getting it back is not easy. But it is not just about confidence and independence. It is about how you feel inside. When your body is strong, your mind is strong. There is something about being able to move freely that keeps your spirit alive. When you know you can walk without struggle, when you know you can stand up without thinking twice, you feel alive. You feel in control. But when movement becomes difficult, it does something to the mind. It creates frustration. It creates worry. And over time, it creates sadness. I have seen people sink into depression simply because they lost their ability to move the way they used to. They stop engaging in activities. They stop seeing friends. They spend more time sitting alone. And the more they sit, the weaker they become. It is a cycle. A dangerous one. And it all starts with the legs. But here is the good news. It does not have to be this way. You do not have to lose your confidence. You do not have to give up your independence. You do not have to let fear control your life. Because leg strength is something you can maintain. And even if you have lost some of it, you can get it back. I have made it a habit to work on my legs every single day. Not because I love exercise. Not because I want to prove anything. But because I want to keep living on my own terms. I do my sit-to-stands. I do my heel raises. I practice balancing on one foot. And every time I do, I remind myself why. I am not just keeping my legs strong. I am keeping my confidence strong. I am keeping my freedom strong. I am keeping my mind strong. I know people who say they do not have time for this. They say they are too old to worry about strength training. They say they will just accept whatever happens. But I ask them, do you have time to lose your independence? Do you have time to sit in a chair all day because walking feels too difficult? Do you have time to live in fear of falling? Because that is what happens when you stop taking care of your legs. Every movement matters. Every step you take is a step towards staying in control of your life. And the best part? It is never too late to start. Even if you have been sitting too much. Even if you feel weaker than you used to. You can begin now. One sit-to-stand at a time. One step at a time. And with every movement, you build back the strength that keeps you living fully. I have met people who told me they had given up. That they thought it was too late for them. And then, after a few weeks of working on their leg strength, they felt something they had not felt in years. Hope. They stood up with ease. They walked without fear. And most importantly, they felt good again. That is the power of movement. That is the power of strong legs. I do not talk about this just because I have read about it. I talk about it because I have lived it. I have seen what happens when people stop taking care of their legs. I have seen what happens when people keep them strong. And I know what side I want to be on. I want to wake up every morning knowing I can stand on my own. I want to walk through my day without hesitation. I want to keep my independence until the very end. And so I move. I strengthen my legs. I take care of my body because I know it takes care of everything else. Confidence. Independence. Mental well-being. It all starts with strength. And that strength starts with you. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But today. Because the way you move today will decide how you live tomorrow. And I plan to live fully for as long as I can. What is the long-term impact of consistently practicing this exercise, and what kind of results can someone expect in 5 or 10 years? I have lived long enough to know that time is always moving. Whether you do something or do nothing, the years will pass. And the choices you make today will shape what kind of life you will be living 5 or 10 years from now. I have seen it happen over and over. Some people slow down, get weaker, and become dependent on others. Others stay strong, keep moving, and remain independent well into their 80s and 90s. The difference is not luck. It is not just genetics. It is the daily choices they make. And one of the simplest yet most powerful choices is whether or not they keep their legs strong. I started doing the sit-to-stand exercise years ago because I wanted to make sure I could keep walking for life. At first, it did not feel like much. Just standing up and sitting down. But I stuck with it because I knew that small actions, done consistently, create big results over time. And let me tell you what I have seen. The people who make this exercise a part of their daily routine do not just stay on their feet. They stay independent. They stay confident. They keep living life on their own terms. In the first few weeks, you start noticing small changes. Getting up from a chair feels easier. Your legs feel more stable when you walk. You do not think twice before stepping up onto a curb or climbing the stairs. But that is just the beginning. After a few months, you feel stronger. You move without hesitation. You do not feel that little struggle when rising from a low seat. You feel solid when you stand. Your balance improves, and that fear of falling starts to fade. And here is the most important part: you start trusting your body again. But the real power of this exercise is not just in what it does in a few months. It is in what it does in 5 years. In 10 years. I have seen it with my own eyes. People who stay consistent with this movement do not just avoid weakness. They avoid walkers. They avoid canes. They avoid the slow decline that takes away so much from so many people. They keep walking with strength and confidence while others struggle. I remember an old friend who started doing sit-to-stands when he was in his 70s. He did them every morning and every evening, just a few minutes each day. Nothing fancy. Just consistency. I ran into him again almost 10 years later, and he looked as strong as ever. While many others his age were moving slower, leaning on support, or avoiding certain activities, he was still walking tall. He told me, "I barely even think about getting up anymore. It is automatic." That is the power of this simple exercise. It does not just keep you moving today. It keeps you moving years from now. On the other hand, I have seen what happens when people do not do anything. I have seen people slowly lose their strength, thinking it is just part of aging. At first, they avoid long walks. Then they avoid stairs. Then they struggle just to stand up from a chair. And once standing up becomes difficult, everything else starts to feel impossible. They start needing more help. They start depending on others. And that independence they once had is gone. It does not happen all at once. It happens over years, little by little. And by the time they realize how much they have lost, it is much harder to get it back. I tell people all the time, if you can stand up today, you can keep standing up for years. But you have to work at it. The beauty of the sit-to-stand exercise is that it keeps every part of your lower body strong. Your thighs. Your hips. Your calves. And most importantly, it keeps your balance sharp. That means you will not just be strong enough to stand. You will be steady enough to walk without fear. You will be able to catch yourself if you trip. You will be able to move through the world without hesitation. Now, imagine 5 years from now. If you have been doing this exercise every day, your legs will still be strong. You will still be able to get up without using your hands. You will still be walking with confidence. You will still be independent. You will still be in control of your own body. And when you look around, you will notice that not everyone your age can say the same. Now, imagine 10 years from now. You are still moving with ease. You are not struggling to get out of bed. You are not dreading every step. You are still doing the things you love. Whether it is traveling, gardening, playing with your grandchildren, or simply walking through the park, you are able to do it without worry. Why? Because you made the choice to keep your legs strong. Because you did not let time take your strength away without a fight. I know that a single exercise might not seem like a big deal. I know that standing up and sitting down a few times a day might feel too simple to make a real difference. But I have lived long enough to see what happens to those who do it and those who do not. And I will tell you this. The ones who keep moving, who keep strengthening their legs, who make this a daily habit, they are the ones who keep living fully. They are the ones who keep their freedom. It is easy to think that one small thing does not matter. But that is how time works. Small choices add up. And before you know it, you are either strong and independent or struggling independent. I made my choice years ago, and I will keep making it every day. Because I know where I want to be 5 years from now. I know where I want to be 10 years from now. I want to be on my own 2 feet, walking strong, living life without limits. And I want the same for anyone willing to do the work today. So if you are wondering whether this exercise is worth it, let me tell you. It is not just worth it. It is life-changing. It is the difference between staying in control and watching life shrink around you. It is the difference between walking with confidence and struggling to stand. It is the difference between needing help and living on your own terms. Time will pass no matter what. 5 years will come. 10 years will come. The question is, what kind of life will you be living when that time arrives? Will you be strong? Will you be steady? Will you still be moving without hesitation? The answer depends on what you do today. And I hope you choose strength. Because if you do, I promise you, the future will look a whole lot brighter. If you like today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel, so until next time, take care.